On a radiant Tuesday afternoon in July 2025, 13-year-old Jessica Williams stepped off a city bus in downtown Atlanta, her heart thrumming with excitement. Today was not just any day. It was the day she would prove her independence by opening her first checking account at First National Bank. For weeks, Jessica had meticulously prepared for this moment. She had scoured the internet for information on different types of accounts, rehearsed her pitch to the bank representative, and even practiced her confident stride through the bank's imposing glass doors. To Jessica, this wasn't merely about opening an account. It was a rite of passage, a tangible step toward adulthood, symbolizing maturity and responsibility. Jessica's life was a blend of privilege and deliberate normalcy. She lived in a sprawling mansion in the exclusive Hillcrest Estates, where manicured lawns stretched endlessly under the Georgia sun. She attended Westfield Preparatory Academy, a prestigious institution with tuition fees that rivaled annual salaries. Her days were filled with academic rigor, maintaining a perfect 4.0 GPA, and the occasional teenage worry about friendships and extracurriculars. Yet, unlike many of her affluent peers, Jessica was unaware of the full extent of her family's wealth. Her mother, Dr. Angela Rodriguez Williams, had crafted a life for her daughter grounded in humility and hard work, shielding her from the realities of their vast fortune. As Jessica approached the gleaming doors of First National Bank, her school uniform neatly pressed and her backpack slung over one shoulder, she felt a surge of confidence. She had never been treated as anything less than valued and respected. The bank's lobby buzzed with activity. Sharply dressed professionals darted between teller windows, elderly customers lounged in the VIP section, and the hum of financial transactions filled the air. Jessica took a deep breath, straightened her posture, and headed toward the customer service desk, ready to make her mark. At the first available teller window, Jessica was greeted by a nameplate reading Jennifer Adams, Customer Service Representative. Jennifer, a middle-aged woman with a tight bun and a perpetually furrowed brow, looked up from her computer. Her welcoming smile vanished the moment she saw Jessica, a young black girl standing before her. Her eyes narrowed and her expression shifted to one of disdain. "What do you want?" Jennifer asked, her voice laced with hostility as she scrutinized Jessica from head to toe. Jessica, undeterred, flashed a bright smile. "Hi, good afternoon. I'd like to open my first checking account, please. I'm really excited about this." Jennifer let out a harsh laugh, her tone dripping with mockery. "Are you serious right now? This is a real bank, not some community center. We don't just hand out accounts to every kid who wanders in here." Jessica's smile faltered, confusion creeping in. "I'm 13 and I have all the required documentation. I've been saving for this." "13?" Jennifer interrupted, her sneer deepening. "And let me guess, you've got cash from selling drugs or stealing from people. That's usually how kids like you get money around here." The words hit Jessica like a physical blow. "Kids like me?" she stammered, her voice trembling. "I don't understand. I go to Westfield Prep. This is birthday money from my grandmother." "Sure it is," Jennifer scoffed. "Westfield Prep, right? You probably stole that uniform too. I know exactly what kind of neighborhood you come from, and it's not the kind that sends kids to fancy schools. I'm calling my manager to deal with this." Jennifer picked up her phone with a dramatic flourish, dialing an extension. "Sharon, you need to get over to window 3 immediately. I've got one of those urban kids here trying to scam us with suspicious cash." "Yeah, exactly the type we talked about in our staff meeting. She's getting aggressive and making a scene." Within minutes, Sharon Mitchell, the bank manager, appeared. A woman in her late 40s with a severe demeanor, Sharon's eyes locked onto Jessica, and a cold, calculating expression crossed her face. There was no trace of the professional warmth she reserved for other customers. Instead, her tone was accusatory from the start. "Shouldn't you be in school, young lady?" Sharon asked, her voice sharp with suspicion. Jessica, still clinging to her politeness, replied, "Oh, I have permission from my school and my parents. I arranged to leave early specifically for this appointment." She reached into her backpack and produced a signed permission slip from her school counselor, but Sharon barely glanced at it. When Jessica placed her envelope of cash on the counter, Sharon's expression darkened further. "That's a lot of cash for someone your age. Where did you get this?" Jessica felt a flutter of confusion. "It's birthday money from my grandmother and some savings I've been keeping at home. I wanted to deposit it all when I opened my checking account." Sharon's laugh was devoid of humor. "I find that hard to believe. Grandmothers don't typically give 13-year-olds $800 in cash." Jessica, desperate to prove herself, fumbled through her backpack and pulled out a birthday card with her grandmother's elegant handwriting. "I can show you the card she wrote with it." Sharon waved it away dismissively. "Anyone can write a card. These could all be fake." Across town, in a gleaming 40-story skyscraper, Dr. Angela Rodriguez Williams sat at the head of a mahogany conference table in the boardroom of Williams Financial Group. Surrounded by 5 executives, she was deep in a discussion about a multi-million-dollar acquisition deal. Angela was a formidable presence, known in business circles as Angela Rodriguez, the brilliant CEO who had expanded her family's financial empire. Her face graced the covers of financial magazines, and her strategies were studied in business schools. Yet in her personal life, she was simply Angela Williams, Jessica's mom, who attended PTA meetings and worried about her daughter's homework. Angela had deliberately crafted a dual identity to protect Jessica from the pressures of their wealth. She remembered her own childhood as the heir to the Rodriguez banking empire, constantly scrutinized and judged. When Jessica was born, Angela vowed to raise her with humility, shielding her from the family's true power until she was ready. The modest home, the public school appearances, the absence of ostentatious displays, all were part of Angela's plan to give Jessica a normal childhood. As Angela listened to her senior vice president, Thomas Chen, present quarterly numbers, her phone buzzed with a notification. It was a text from Jessica, set to bypass her phone's Do Not Disturb mode for emergencies. Angela's heart skipped a beat as she read the message. "Mom, I'm at First National Bank and the manager called the cops on me. She says I stole the money and won't let me call you. I'm scared." The room fell silent as Angela's expression shifted from confusion to shock, then to a cold, controlled rage that made the executives lean back in their chairs. "Gentlemen," she said, her voice low and dangerous, "this meeting is over. Someone just made a very costly mistake." She stood abruptly, her chair rolling back to hit the wall. As she strode toward the elevator, she dialed her attorney, David Chen, her head of security, Robert Torres, and Charles Morrison, the chairman of First National Bank's board. "James," she called to her driver, "bring the car around. We're going to First National Bank, now." Back at the bank, Jessica's world was unraveling. 2 police officers, Bradley Walsh and Maria Santos, had arrived in response to Sharon's call. They approached the customer service counter with preconceived notions, influenced by Sharon's description of a typical urban troublemaker. "This girl was trying to deposit what I believe is stolen money," Sharon said with a smug satisfaction. "She has no legitimate explanation for where she got it and has been behaving suspiciously since she walked in here." Jessica, tears streaming down her face, tried to explain. "Officers, please, I can explain everything. This is my money. I have all my identification. I just wanted to open a checking account." But Officer Walsh dismissed her. "We get calls about kids like this all the time. Young people involved in theft, drug running, you name it. They always have some story about legitimate money." Jessica's heart sank as she heard the phrase, "kids like this," again. She produced her school ID, birth certificate, and savings account statements, but the officers barely glanced at them. Officer Santos pulled out her handcuffs. "Turn around and put your hands behind your back." "Why?" Jessica cried. "I didn't do anything wrong." "You're being detained on suspicion of theft and fraud," Walsh said matter-of-factly. "You can explain your story at the station." The handcuffs clicked around Jessica's wrists, the sound echoing through the lobby. Customers watched in horror, some recording on their phones, but no one intervened. An elderly woman muttered, "This is wrong," but stayed silent otherwise. Jessica was learning a harsh lesson about the world. that people could witness injustice and choose inaction. As the officers led her toward the door, Jessica managed to send her desperate text to her mother. Sharon, watching with a satisfied smile, thought she had thwarted a young criminal. She had no idea she had just ignited a storm that would destroy her career. 23 minutes after Jessica's text, a sleek black Bentley with the license plate RF Guand 01 pulled up to First National Bank. Angela Rodriguez Williams stepped out, her tailored suit and understated jewelry exuding power. She was flanked by David Chen, her attorney, Robert Torres, her head of security, and 2 additional security personnel. The air shifted as they entered the bank, customers and employees instinctively stepping aside. Angela marched to Sharon's counter, her heels clicking like a metronome of impending judgment. "Release my daughter, immediately." Sharon, still oblivious to the gravity of her mistake, scoffed. "Look, lady, I don't know who you think you are, but your daughter is a thief. She was trying to deposit stolen money, and I did exactly what I was supposed to do. The police have already taken her away." Angela placed a gold-lettered business card on the counter with deliberate precision. "I'm Dr. Angela Rodriguez Williams. My family is Rodriguez Financial Holdings. We don't just bank here, Sharon. We own here." Sharon's face paled as she read the card. The name Rodriguez was legendary in banking circles, synonymous with wealth and influence. "The girl's name is Williams, not Rodriguez," she stammered. Angela's smile was icy. "Rodriguez is my maiden name. Williams is my married name, and you just arrested the granddaughter of the man who founded this bank 80 years ago." The crowd around the counter grew, employees and customers alike drawn to the unfolding drama. Angela continued, her voice steady but commanding. "Rodriguez Financial Holdings owns 60% of First National Bank. My family has been the controlling shareholder since 1943. Every promotion you've received, every paycheck you've cashed, every benefit you've enjoyed, it all came from my family's money." David Chen stepped forward. "Miss Mitchell, are you seriously suggesting that a child having birthday money constitutes suspicious activity? Are you aware that racial profiling is a federal crime?" Before Sharon could respond, Charles Morrison, the chairman of the bank's board, burst through the doors, out of breath. "Angela, I came as soon as I got your call. Where is Jessica? Is she hurt?" Angela's voice softened slightly for the family friend. "Charles, your employee accused my 13-year-old daughter of theft and money laundering. She refused to let Jessica call me, refused to verify her identity, and called the police to have her arrested." Morrison's face contorted in horror. "You did what?" Sharon tried to defend herself, her voice barely a whisper. "Sir, I was just following protocol for suspicious activity. The girl had a lot of cash and no valid explanation." "No valid explanation?" Angela interrupted, her voice rising. "She told you it was birthday money from her grandmother. She showed you her identification, her school records, her savings account statements from this very bank. What more explanation did you need?" Morrison ordered the security footage to be reviewed immediately. The monitors displayed Jessica's polite interaction, Sharon's hostility, and a pattern of discriminatory behavior toward minority customers over months. Morrison whispered, "My God, Sharon, how long has this been going on?" Sharon, watching her career implode, could only stare in horror. Angela turned to Morrison. "Charles, I want a full investigation into this woman's conduct, and I want it started immediately." Morrison turned to Sharon, his voice formal. "Ms. Mitchell, your employment with First National Bank is terminated immediately. Security will escort you from the building, and you are permanently banned from all bank properties." As Sharon was led away, Angela addressed the gathered crowd. "Let this be a lesson to everyone here. Racism isn't just morally wrong, it's bad business, it's expensive, and in this case it just costs someone their entire career." Angela's focus shifted to her daughter, who was still at the juvenile detention center. Morrison called the chief of police to secure Jessica's immediate release. Angela, David, and Robert sped to the detention center, where Jessica was waiting, shaken but unharmed. The drive home was silent, Jessica staring out the window, grappling with the day's events. At home, Angela pulled over to the side of the road, needing to address the deeper wound. "Baby," she said, "what happened today wasn't about anything you did. That woman made assumptions about you based on the color of your skin. That's called racism, and it's wrong." Jessica, tears welling, asked, "But we have money, we live in a nice house, I go to a good school, doesn't that matter?" Angela took a deep breath, realizing the time had come to reveal the truth. Over the next 2 hours, she explained the Rodriguez banking dynasty, their $2.8 billion net worth, and their controlling interest in numerous financial institutions. Jessica learned that her normal life was a carefully constructed facade to protect her from the pressures of wealth. "Why didn't you tell me?" Jessica asked, feeling betrayed. "I wanted you to develop your own character first," Angela said. "I wanted you to value hard work and kindness before you learned about the responsibilities of our family's position. But I realize now I may have left you unprepared for the real world." Jessica's experience transformed her. She immersed herself in learning about civil rights, economic justice, and systemic discrimination in banking. Within a month, the Rodriguez Family Foundation launched Financial Justice for All, a program offering workshops on financial rights, legal resources for discrimination victims, and a hotline for young people facing unfair treatment. Jessica became the campaign's face, speaking at schools and community centers, sharing her story to empower others. Thousands came forward with similar experiences, highlighting the need for systemic change. First, National Bank implemented sweeping reforms, mandatory bias training, youth-friendly policies, and dedicated specialists for minor clients. The bank's new approach became a model for the industry. 3 months later, Jessica returned to First National Bank to open her checking account. This time, she was treated with respect, completing the process in minutes. She insisted that every young customer receive the same dignity, using her privilege to advocate for others. Sharon Mitchell's career was obliterated. Her name became a cautionary tale in banking, her reputation ensuring she would never work in the industry again. She took low-paying retail jobs, each a reminder of her fall. Meanwhile, officers Walsh and Santos faced suspensions and investigations, their biased patterns exposed. Angela's speech to the bank staff, delivered a week after Sharon's firing, went viral. "My family built wealth despite people like Sharon trying to stop us," she declared. "Jessica will learn that respect is demanded, and we have the power to demand it. But more importantly, she'll learn to use that power to protect those who don't have it." Jessica's story became a catalyst for change, a testament to the power of standing against injustice. Her journey from a sheltered teenager to a fierce advocate ensured that no other child would face what she had, proving that even the youngest voices could reshape the world. If you liked this story, please like, subscribe, and share it with others so they can learn something from it too.